All right, what's up, everybody? For those of you that were listening just before the show, and I thought there might not be a show about the TerrorFormer Kickstarter, I totally lied. This show is going to be about the TerrorFormer Kickstarter. So let's get into it. Before we start, I would like to remind everybody that well, first of all, I'd like to remind myself that somehow I don't have my spreadsheet. I don't know what happened to it. I probably closed it. But the All Things Fantasy Grounds talk show is meant to teach and help, and the opinions stated by the three of us on the show tonight are not that of Smiteworks USA LLC or Fantasy Grounds. Also, a personal note, founder Leroon, FGC founder, our normal co-host, will not be with us this evening because his mother has passed away, and so I am going to put a link in the chat. So if you're watching on Twitch right now, you can... well, I'm obviously having problems. Here we go. Now I can get my screen back here. I'm going to put a link where you guys can go if you'd like, even for a buck or two, to donate to his family for the for the medical expenses and this and that. So I'm just going to pop that link right in the chat in 2 seconds as soon as I find it here, which is going to be on this other page, and then we'll get into the show. Here it is right here. So it's a So it's a GoFundMe link, and like I said, you guys can go to that link, check it out. If you are in a position to be able to donate to him, especially if you're a Fantasy Grounds fan and Fantasy Grounds College user, please give as much as you can, even if it's just a couple of bucks, because everything helps. All right, so before we introduce our special guest, who is the man behind the Kickstarter, let me introduce my co-host for this evening, Miss Furied Fate. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing a lot better considering what else is happening.
Yeah, sad news. I also had a stomach virus earlier today, which seems to have gotten better, but today wasn't really a good day, so hopefully this show will make it all better. And before I introduce Chris, are you eating any particular type of ice cream? I'm sure the chat would like to know. Maybe not. Okay.
Oh, me? No,
Yeah.
no. Sorry,
Okay.
I thought you might have meant Chris.
No.
Like, oh.
So, Chris from Game Tile Warehouse has been on the show before, and I think even a couple of times. And so he's here today to talk to us about the TerrorFormer Kickstarter, and I'll put that link in the chat. But welcome, Chris. How are you?
Rob Furied, thanks for letting me on the show. I'm good, but my sincere condolences to Aaron, to Leroon of Fantasy Grounds College, for the passing of his mother.
Yeah.
We just got that news like 15 minutes before I was about to come on, so feel a bit
Yeah.
sad actually.
Yeah, I'm sad too.
We're gonna try and just focus and do this show. A lot of my work, a lot of my ability to use Fantasy Grounds in the way I use it is due to Aaron, to Fantasy Grounds College, but particularly to Aaron, who has patiently showed me how to put my ideas into a format that works really well. The initial project of TerrorFormer was Squareware. I can bring that up now.
And Chris, I've got your volume up as high as it will go, but the stream says they are having trouble hearing you. So if you could boost your volume at all, that'd be great.
Okay, let's see if I can do that. One sec. Is that better?
We'll hope so. Yeah. I mean, we can do our best here.
Okay, I'll just talk for a minute, and the stream can tell you if it's better. What do you reckon, guys? And hello to everyone out there listening to Rob's show. Thanks for coming along.
Yeah, they say it's a little better. Okay, good.
All right, so this is Squareware, and basically this was a ultimate DM tool that I built to allow me to fill in the gaps in any part of RPG story that I was in every way possible. The only thing it didn't have was unique monsters. It had all of the SRD monster encounters here, which you could bring up. It had the ability to allow you to run an AI PC without the DM's bias. Had everything from time of day to things in treasure chests to the description of inns and taverns, uh, portals, fruit, conversations, basically anything that a DM could use to enhance their game through various descriptions and random effects. Former TerrorFormer is the monster side of it that I decided to create when I was trying to use some monsters for another project, and I came across a lot of IP issues using those particular monsters.
Right.
So I thought to myself, right. So I thought to myself, okay, well, I'm just going to build my own. So TerrorFormer is essentially like Squareware. It uses a huge number of random roll tables to create virtually any kind of monster. If I just have a scroll down here, I have a couple of varieties. First, I created a basic monster, but these things are like these are like level 20. These are like hardcore TPK type monsters that I've created. And the Kickstarter is to sort of help me have time to refine it and produce monsters that are for level 1 to 3 and 5 to 8 and 14 to 18 and so on. So there's a sliding scale. But at the moment, these are like Tarask type things. These are like wipe out your party in a second. But the function of Fantasy Grounds allows me to create hundreds of monsters in a few minutes. I can generate 20,000 names with a single click, so I never really have to think too much. And the whole purpose of Squareware was to save my hands, save my eyes, and save my brain from fatigue. As a DM, you get a lot of it in a lot of different ways, and Squareware was my attempt to cut out a huge amount of it so that I could focus on telling the story and keep my games going for longer. And TerrorFormer is essentially the same. It allows me to have any but it also it will generate unlimited monsters of almost any type, and it uses all of the SRD abilities of the monsters, so that and that's in the 5e version, so that you already would be familiar with what they can do. There won't be any really surprises. So let's just go ahead and open it up.
Yeah, and it's important to note that he has made this for 5th edition and for Pathfinder, right?
That's right. I have a 50 edition that's fully functioning. It just uh, needs some love and care to tighten it up and add a few things. The Pathfinder version I haven't built yet. I'm hoping to get funding for it so that I can build it.
Okay.
So,
And would that
so
be
Terraformers,
just so people know, would that be Pathfinder original, Pathfinder 2nd edition, or both?
that would be Pathfinder original.
Okay.
I think Pathfinder 2 is still jumping around a bit much for me to have to be able to really pin it down. And I think most people are still familiar with Pathfinder, so I think that's probably the better option for now.
Okay, just so
And
people know,
going
yeah.
forward, right, and going forward, I'll probably make a Pathfinder 2 version as well.
Oh,
So
cool.
Terraform is basically um, inspired by my love of Lovecraft, who wrote the Cthulhu mythology, and it's like a Necronomicon that uses Fantasy Grounds as the format. So here we have just a basic bit of an exciting lead-in for the DM. Basically, you're given this intense book that millions of mages gave their lives to try and stop, and now the power has fallen to you. So if I click generate here, um, we can see here that the monster that will be generated is elemental. So I click on this, and it will bring up a page with all of the links and these two steps that I just made, I want to eliminate them, and the way I'll do that is I will basically take them out so you won't need to see them. But here I've just generated an entirely unique monster. So let me just. Okay,
The
so
screen kind of wigged out there for a second. I hope it gets there. There we go. Okay.
how's that?
Yep. It's the internet connection is all. It just gets trouble sometimes. Discord isn't the best. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. All right, so the first thing it tells you is the type of monster. Obviously, very useful. This one is a multi-elemental, so I assume it's supposed to have more than one element. At the top here, it gives you the name. So the names that I've come up with in my tables, they'll give you billions of random names that you've never ever heard before. So this one is the obscure feminine. If I click on one of these monster name tables here, these are just some of the 20,000 names I rolled just with one click. If you see any of these and you like them, go ahead and use them. Pause here and there so you can
Yeah, that's a lot of
screenshot.
names.
Right, and here's the slider up here. It
Right,
goes
so
all
it's
the way
just
down.
so many. Yeah, so many.
So it's essentially more than I could ever use. If I was to play D&D every day for a year, I would probably use, well, let's say if I use 2 of these monsters, I'd use 600. And this is one click, and this has given me 20,000. The hope is that with extra funding, I can break these down further so that if you have, say, a vegetation monster or a shock-based monster or a specific type of monster, it will throw up names that are more suited to it. But at the moment, it just gives you an unlimited Demonomicon, basically. I mean, I can keep going.
Yeah,
And
I
this is
mean,
with every click,
it seems endless. That's good.
right? Yeah, it seems endless. Everyone on the planet essentially to have their own unique monster and never the twain shall meet. Also, the monsters that I've created in TerrorFormer, they will never be IP. They will never be copyright. So this allows anyone to use any of these monsters, any of the names, without having to worry about um, breaking IP or permission to use them. You can use them however you like. You just cannot copyright them. So they are like copy left.
The copy
And
left.
right, so everybody can use them at any time.
Right.
Okay, so this chart is a bit of an older one. I'm going to open a newer one which I've done, and first thing people will be noticing is the order of these details. If I open up an NPC sheet,
You can just slap all that info in there.
right, you can slap all the info in there. What I'm trying to is order this output here in the same as this output here. So you can just drag it across like this really quickly. You don't have to scroll down, so that eliminates even further time. Because I don't build extensions, I don't know how to make this just suddenly appear in here. Maybe at some point, if I have time, I'll be able to learn that.
Yeah, it is
But for now,
possible to do, but it's not something that you can do easily. Yeah.
right. So for now, this is the best solution. So I'm just going to close this one, which we've rolled. And we're going to switch to Fanacant the Desolator. So after it gives you the name, it gives you the terrain. I want to expand all of this. I actually want to have a legendary background story builder that will tell you where the monsters come from and a bit of its history. I think it'll make it a bit more interesting for the DM to lead in.
Right.
So you have the leg. Oh, you also have the description. So the description is pretty comprehensive. So Fenacant the Desolator has a arachnine, 5-legged, 20-armed body with luminous peach-tinged skin. There's rough hands with serrated claws and web-footed feet. From its spine protrude a razored edge, and on a thick and scaled neck the monster's face is arachnine, with stained pallid skin, gills, and an imperfect texture with one narrow burning red eye just above the mouth. The monster has one gnashing mouth, small and funnel-like, with thin covered spines with gleaming juices, lips, and with teeth like needles. 4 long and flat horns measuring up to a foot long are coming from the sides of its head. So this is a basic description of the monster. One of the things I would like to do is actually create tokens of these particular features that you would then be able to drag onto a body-shaped map like this one here. And then you would actually be able to build a picture of the monster they're facing. And you'd be able to either take a snapshot or use it as a map and just share it with the players, and then they'd be able to see what they're coming up against. So that would be one way I would like to enhance Terraformer and give people the ability to see what they create by making tokens for it as well.
Got it. Boy, these it's too bad we can't really see your screen. I mean, we can see it; it's just blurred. But that's not your fault. It's Discord. There we go. Now it's back. It's just every once in a while the connection goes blurry, so it's clear now. Yeah, it's clear now. But I was getting what you were saying.
Read the text, Rob?
Yeah. We can read the text. It's just it's hard to explain. Just periodically with no real reason or rhyme to it, the screen just goes blurry. But it's definitely a Discord thing. I mean, I've been dealing with it for 3 years. It's just internet connections aren't sometimes strong enough to deal with what's going on with Discord, so it just blurs it out. But right now it's perfect, so you can go right ahead.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so if we look here on the NPC sheet, we can see size, type, alignment, armor class, hit points, and speed. In this new version of the monster, we have size, type, alignment, armor class, hit points, and speed, all in the same format as the NPC, so you get across. And this allows you to very quickly create a new monster. You don't have to think about it, it's already been done for you. All you have to do is drag it across. Now with armor class, I don't think you can drag it across into this. So in some cases, you may have to enter a small amount of data. And I think that goes for the stats as well. But everything else will be able to be dragged over. So some of this still needs work. This is a prototype. It's not fully finished.
Right.
It functions, but it still needs work. So here are the traits, and these traits are based on monsters from the SRD. So players and DMs will already be familiar with most of them. The format doesn't take any deviations, so it should work just fine with Fantasy Grounds as it does with all the other normal monsters and attributes. Here we have specific aquatic traits because it's an aquatic creature. Various actions. And I do hope to create codes for these so that they can also be easily added to effects and things like that. But we'll have to see how we go. Legendary actions, and because these are huge creatures, these ones. But it'd be nice to make instead of just like Tarrasque-sized giant killing machines, to make new versions of goblins and orcs and giants and things like that.
Yeah, do all the basic ones. Yeah.
Yeah,
So they have different properties and different skills, different reactions, different powers, that kind of thing.
Exactly, Rob. Yeah. So we have languages here as well, and then we'll have a challenge rating, XP, and things like that. Everything that's in the NPC chart here with all the fields, you'll be able to just drag it across. And that's about as detailed as it gets, because that is all I've built. But just from that alone, like, it's so simple, but you can create billions of monsters.
Yeah, I can see
Literally.
the potentials. Now, are the pins on the TerrorFormer graphic, the green pins? You showed us a couple of them, but are those just the different parts of the monster? Is that what that is?
Right. So the green pins just have a couple of different types of monsters. So we've got aquatic, burrowing, legged, no-legged,
Oh,
overkilled.
okay. So someone can go, oh, I need this kind, and I want it to be this. I got it. Okay, that makes sense.
Right. So with Squareware, I built a pretty complex visual interface, and this terraformer is just like a basic placeholder page. Once I get all of the pieces together, it won't look like this. It will probably have a different graphic, and it will make more intuitive sense. So if you want to get one of a particular monster, there'll be symbols here, and you can just click on that. If you want to grab a random,
Got it. All right, maybe we show the Kickstarter page. I just put the link in the chat again. Let's go to the Kickstarter page. Here it is, right here. So if you guys want
right
to,
out of the
back this, here somebody's backing it right now. I just saw the number change. So you can go here and, but I mean, he's basically showed you how to work it. And if you have Squareware, then I mean, you don't have to have Squareware, but if you are a person who does have Squareware, then you know how he's got all these tables in there. And for the TerrorFormer, like he said, you can get billions of combinations. I mean, the fun thing to say about it is like what you said, Chris, which is if you played every day for like a few years, you would just never repeat any of this information. It's just so much information. Yeah, spines. Did we lose? Are we still? Are you still there, Chris? I can't hear him.
Yeah,
Okay.
we good?
Yeah, I heard that, but I didn't hear you before that. So, and I apologize. I mean, Discord is the best we can do, and it's just not perfect. But I mean, no online sharing thing is perfect. So we just do the best we can.
Yeah, absolutely, man. If I have to repeat something, I'll just repeat it. Are there any questions from our audience?
Oh, let's see. McClancy backed it. Gerbil Slayer. Once Chris gets the mind map together for the pins, plus the places to put pins, you're working. So I can't wait to see it, he says. Yeah, guys, so if you have questions, Fury, did you see any questions go by that I might have missed?
Not that I've seen, no.
Okay. If you guys have questions, fire away. Yeah, he's going down the monster name in the monster names list. Now, how did you do that? Did you just assemble words from other words, or how did you even do that? That's crazy. Or is that a trade secret that you can't tell us anything?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with trade secret.
Okay. Oh, so Shadzar's asking about the green pins. All a green pin is, Shad, is a shared pin. So all pins are red, but if you right click on a pin and share it, then it turns green. And that just means that if you load up a map or a graphic that has pins on it, players can also see the pin. So it's just a shared pin is all.
Yeah. One of the interesting things about maps is, and Squareware in particular, is I could use green and red pins to differentiate different things, because until you share the map, players can't see it. So even if you have a shared pin, but you don't share the map, they can't see it. So I was still able to take advantage of the fact that Fantasy Grounds has 2 different colored pins.
Right. Yeah, you're just sort of, you're cheating the system to make it work for you, which is excellent. Because players are probably not going to ever see this. I mean, you're not going to allow a player to assemble a monster during your game, so they're not going to see it anyway.
Right. Well, that's all I've ever done, Rob, is try to cheat the system. I have ideas and I just try and make
That's
it
right.
work in my favor. And
Yeah.
Fantasy Grounds is really good for that.
Diablo Bob just back to his question is how much does Chris love tables? I think I know the
More than I
answer.
love chairs.
Yeah, there you go. What's up? He made a pun, everybody. Just everybody calm down. So if will this be also like will you I guess all you'd have to do is put a pin on Squareware and say if you want to look at monsters, click here, and then it just goes to the Terraformer. I guess I sort of answered my own question. It wouldn't be that hard. And this is delivered if the project goes through, you're delivering it when? What does it say? January? Oh wow, okay. So there you go, everybody. Now does the Pathfinder version of it require is that a stretch goal, or is it if it funds you'll also do Pathfinder?
If it funds, I'll also do Pathfinder.
Oh, okay. Okay, great.
I'm also doing a Pathfinder version of Squareware, which you can pledge for as well. That was requested by a lot of the people that use it. Because they play 5e, they also play Pathfinder, so they wanted a version of each.
Yeah.
Some people are using a conversion table, but it's not very precise. So I was going to basically build a Pathfinder version as well. So you can pledge for that. You can pledge for TerrorFormer, and I'm trying to cover both 5e and Pathfinder with this Kickstarter.
And is the Squareware for Pathfinder another Kickstarter that hasn't started yet?
No, I've already built the 5e version, so it shouldn't be too hard for me to just
Oh,
basically change
I was asking
over.
because you what you said was you could pledge for it. So
Right, you can pledge for it on the TerrorFormer Kickstarter. So
oh, you
if you
can.
want,
Okay.
right.
I didn't
So
see
if
that.
you want TerrorFormer 5e or Pathfinder, you can pledge for it. If you want Squareware 5e or Pathfinder, you can also pledge for that on the same page.
Oh, yeah, no, I totally didn't know that. That's excellent. Okay. So yeah, if you guys don't have Squareware yet, which came out a few months ago, I don't know, 6 months ago? Has it been 6 months already? Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, then you can also add to your pledge here and do that. So let me post this link again. In case anybody came to the show late. If you're watching this show after the fact on YouTube, there will of course be the link in the description. I'll put that there as well for people. So let's see. Did we miss anybody's questions? Will this be published on Fantasy Grounds Store when released? Yeah, I assume the answer to that is yes.
The answer to that is yes.
Yeah. So Squareware is also there. If you go to the Fantasy Grounds Store, Chris has actually a lot of stuff in the Fantasy Grounds Store. He's got his Meanders map packs. He's got Squareware, which I'll try to find right now. But yeah, it's right in the store. Here it is right here. Oh no, that's the forum. Oh, it should have a nope. That's that's your website. I screwed up. I got too excited. I get excited. I start clicking links. I'm not reading what I'm doing. Here it is, store product. Right, so here's the Squareware. I own it. Thank you. Squareware for Fantasy Grounds, which was a Kickstarter, and then he put it on for everybody to buy, and then he was just saying, of course, he's going to make a Pathfinder version of it because people have requested. This is for 5e, and oh yeah, February it says. So yeah, 7 months almost 7 months in a couple days from now. And so for those of you that have used it, it's pretty awesome. If you haven't used it, you should definitely check it out. I think there's a couple videos online. You can even watch how people using it. But then if you don't have that and you want to get that, you can pledge for it as part of this Kickstarter. Now, if they pledge for it on the Kickstarter for TerrorFormer, do they get a discount as opposed to just buying it in the store? Like, is it less than $29.99?
Yeah, it's Terraform is actually $20 at the moment
No,
on
but
the
I mean, if they
Kickstarter.
if they add to their pledge for Squareware, do they get it less than the $29.99 from the store price?
No, I
Okay,
can't do that.
right.
It,
I didn't
apart,
think you
I
could, but
got
I was. But so I mean, if you want to help Chris out, it's the same price either way. But you might as well, if you're going to back this, just add it to your pledge, because does that see? I don't know how that works, Chris. Maybe you can tell me. If someone buys Terraformer for $20, right?
right.
That means the pledge amount goes up. But if they add to their pledge to buy Squareware, does that count toward the goal, or is that a separate accounting?
No, that counts toward the goal.
Hmm. Okay, so that's good. So that could make it go up more. I have a question. How do you decide when you start a Kickstarter and you say, okay, I'm going to make this thing, and you've done, 26 Kickstarters? How do you decide in your head what your goal is going to be? How do you
What do
make
you
that
mean?
calculation? Well, you when you start a Kickstarter, you have to raise a certain amount for a goal, and it's an all or nothing thing. So how do you decide what that goal is? What's your thought process to get that?
Well, I'll tell you what, Rob. I basically just raised my rent for the month.
Oh, so you just put whatever your rent is. Well, I knew it had to be something. I didn't know what it was. Because I always
Yeah,
wondered when Fantasy Grounds did their Unity Kickstarter, they, I think the amount was $29,000. And I don't know where they got that figure. I haven't even bothered to ask that. But I always wonder how people come up with whatever their goal is, because it seems arbitrary to me, because you're gonna get as much money as people give you, regardless of what you say the goal is. So you could put the goal as $1. The only thing is, if you yeah, there is a game about it, because if, let's say, you just put it at $100, well, if you made $100, that's not very much, but you then have to provide the product. So I see there's a balance between how much, what's the minimum I'll take in order to be able to go ahead and spend the time to do this. Yeah, it's just interesting to me, because I haven't done a Kickstarter myself.
I think a lot of people pluck the numbers out of the air, and you notice that when it all goes pear-shaped for them and they can't afford to actually do the manufacturing or sending or postage, a lot of people don't actually do the costings. They just jump on and think, oh, it'll be about this much, and that'll do. But actually watch and observe and follow up on hundreds of Kickstarters. It's sort of a hobby to watch how the market works. And when I did the original Squareware, it was supposed to be a dice kit. And so I actually had to get the costings for that done in China. And I think to get 3,000 kits done, which each had 18 individually faced dice, 2 neoprene mats, and a box with graphics. I think each unit, I had to get the price for that. And I think for 3,000 units, I think it was $27,500
Oh
US.
my god!
Okay,
Wow.
so that was just for the manufacturing. Then I had to factor in the postage, the VAT, um, the what is it? The Kickstarter takes a certain percent. Also have to factor in losses if people don't get their kits and need to make enough to cover it.
Hmm.
So to right, so to basically launch that dice kit as it was before I turned it into a Fantasy Grounds digital version, it would have been approximately 45,000 US. And when I put that up there, I thought, there's no way I'm gonna get this.
Yeah.
But this is what it costs. This is what it costs, the bare minimum, without making virtually any profit, to make a dice set. And I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that it cost that much to make that many
Yeah, it's
dice.
crazy, because you gotta. All people don't realize the unseen that happens in the background, especially if you're doing it overseas, which in most cases is a cheaper way to go anyway, than doing it in whatever country you live in. And then there's
Right.
postage and value added tax and import fees and shipping, and oh my god, it's just a nightmare. But hopefully if you get the money, you can have a cool product for everybody.
Logistics was the other one I was trying to think of, Rob.
The
To
what?
get it from China, around the world, you have to use logistics, which means you have to pay a shipping company to accept it and then ship it outward. So that was the other cost. That was why it skyrocketed, because you can't just ship straight from China.
Oh yeah. And then well, whatever I was gonna say probably isn't important because it completely just went out of my head right now. It just completely lost my thought.
Man. But yeah, it's not easy to fulfill a Kickstarter, especially a physical one. My first Kickstarter, I did meanders, but they were like actually printed boards,
Right.
and I actually messed up the numbers on it because what happened is I think the U.S. Postal Service, they put up their prices, and at the same time the Australian dollar dropped. So those two forces took out all the profit margin from the first one, and I also ran at a loss of about $500. I still fulfilled it, but that was like a very early wake up call that you have to be aware of those changing market forces. Those two things completely decimated um, the original point, which was to try and make some money and be able to sit down and spend time funding it without having to work at a regular job. So I've done all that. I don't want to do that anymore.
Right.
Try and
Oh, and I
my
remembered what
abilities.
I was gonna say, which is that it's a lot better for the creator and for the people purchasing if it's something like this, which is a virtual thing that doesn't have any physical components. There's no shipping involved. You just, if you get it, it's just a download, and it's
Yes.
very easy to demonstrate as you do. You demonstrate, it might need some polish on it, but it's basically a finished thing where it's not like people give you their money and then you're like, oh, I forgot to do it, or I didn't do it.
Yeah.
That's every Kickstarter that I ever do. At least, well, there's one we can talk about, but every Kickstarter I do now, I always read to make sure that it's not them raising money to make something, it's them raising money to sell something they've already made. Because I don't like the idea of something not being done, because even with the best of intentions, the creator could die or get hit by a car, and then everybody doesn't get anything, you know what I mean? So I like this virtual stuff that's already finished, and a lot of especially RPG stuff and everything on Kickstarter, it's all PDFs, and maybe they want to make a soft cover and give that to you, or even a hardback. But if they have the PDF done, then they've already written it, they've already produced it. Maybe they just need the money to print the books. But as far as it being done, I won't give money to a Kickstarter to, like, we have an idea to make shoes, and we haven't started building the shoes yet, but here's our idea. Well, that's a little risky to me, so maybe a lot of people want to do it, but I'm not like that.
But didn't you back that project with the shoes?
I did, but the shoes are done. I did back some shoes. That's funny that I said that, but they already have the shoes, so they're just mass producing them now. But sometimes you go and you buy a widget, or a phone charger, or something really cool looking, or a watch, that all they have is the architect design. They haven't actually produced any of them. So with the shoes, they have them already, so they just need to make more. But my point is, digital stuff's a lot better than physical stuff, because you're going to get it. All right, does anybody in the chat have any more questions? I think people are just like, yeah, I'm buying this. Great point, Rob Toohey. Ooh, I don't hear that much. Hey, don't blame Widget for this. Yeah, widgets, I just use a generic term. Theory, do you have any questions?
I actually want to know what you're going to do next, because this is pretty cool with the monster.
Ooh, yes. Do you have a project in mind after this, Chris? I all of a sudden don't hear you, Chris. Uh-oh. Now the thing's gone. He might be...
We lost him.
I hope we didn't lose him. Is he... Yeah, he's grayed out. There we go.
Go.
There we go. Now we can hear you. Oh, nope. He dropped. Damn it. Lost Mike. Okay, let's see if we can get him back. He might be coming back in. There we go. Now can we hear you now?
Yeah. What
Okay.
the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know. So, do you have another project that you're going to be working on after this one?
Yeah, man, I've always got projects. I was just gonna say on your Kickstarter comments, it is a risk. It is a risk backing on Kickstarter. It is a gamble. I've seen a lot of people make a lot of money and just walk away and treat the backers like garbage, essentially. Especially so in the RPG community. And as someone that uses Kickstarter to basically survive and get along and keep a roof over my head, I mean that makes me pretty angry. I think there's no excuse for that kind of behavior. The one that you supported and we backed with Geo,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a real sad
Yeah.
outcome. I thought he was a good guy, and
Yeah, we all thought he was, and I find, I mean, the current status of that is that he's allegedly off in the woods creating, and that he'll be back in September, with my fingers in the air, back in September, which is now September, so sometime this month. But still, I mean, regardless of whether he's making good on it or not, he has not communicated or said anything, or posted comments, or put anything in his Discord, or done anything to make good on this. And he's been in the industry for, I think, 18 or 19 years, maybe 2001, something like that. And he made $11,000 on that Kickstarter, and it doesn't seem to me that it's a very smart move. I mean, if you're gonna rob a bank, get $1 million. Don't get 10 grand. Get $1 million. But to destroy your career for 11K doesn't make any sense to me. So I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I don't think we're gonna see anything. I really don't. But it is a shame. It's a good point that you bring up about Kickstarter. And they do, you go down to the bottom of any Kickstarter and it says here, what are the risks and everything, and the creator has the option to that's where they can say, hey, these are books, they're at the printers, this is we've made the graphic layout and there hasn't been any printing yet. So that's the creator's opportunity to kind of give you the lowdown on what they've done and what needs to be done. And so that's what I do, is I go down and I read, like, okay, well, how far along is this? But with a digital product, for, like, if we're talking about a video game or something, that's a whole different story, because they need to develop it and test it and everything else. But with something like what you do, it's either done or it's not. So it's easy decision to do it. And if somebody's making a PDF, for example, if they're done with it, they can show you. They can post like a page or a couple pages and say, here's what it looks like. It's already finished. We just need to edit it, or something like that. So, but if you get a person who says, hey, I'm going to make this new RPG game, it's going to be D6 based, and we've got this great idea, we haven't started yet, and Kickstarter, I think that person needs to maybe reevaluate their thought process on that.
Yeah, there's a lot of red flags you can look for. A lot of them have been identified in terms of whether someone is likely to fulfill or not. But it really is a gamble. You don't know what someone's going to do until they've got that money. And I've seen a lot of angry backers.
Yeah.
I think a lot of creators, they go into it thinking that it's just a money grab, and I don't think they really see it as a business transaction, where these people are giving you money, and you should show respect for that, and that includes communication. I'm really surprised that a lot of creators just don't communicate. I think it's really rude.
It is.
Maybe it's just the way I was raised.
No, you're right.
Just the way I was raised.
It's common sense and common courtesy to communicate with people that have given you their money for a product that you haven't given to them yet. But like
Well,
what
they're
you do at the
investors.
bottom, yeah, what you do at the bottom is you demonstrate all the ones you've done, and people can go look it up, and you tell them this is how many backers I got, this is when it was funded, so you demonstrate your track record there for people, so it makes them feel a lot easier about backing you, because you really don't know anything you back on Kickstarter or Indiegogo or any of these platforms, you don't know. And
No,
so I kind
I'm a
of
sure bet.
you're a sure bet, yeah. But yeah, so I feel good about it. And I really love Squareware, so I'm assuming I'll love this just as much, because it scratches the same itch that Squareware does for being able to come up with stuff on the fly for your games, especially if you're not like I tend to run a lot of pre-packaged modules, right? So I don't need to do it as much. But if I was running a one shot or anything where I needed some random stuff, I mean that's the way you want to go.
Yeah, right. Ultimately, these tools are supposed to help the DM save time, because a lot of players don't realize just how hard it is to be a DM, which is why there's so few of us. And it really is hard. There's a ton of work that goes into it. You can spend up to 12 hours writing and planning, and your whole day goes by just for an hour or two of gameplay. And then usually the players don't do anything you expect them to do anyway, so all goes out
Right.
the window. But I've got two other projects coming up, Rob. I've got my own module series. I started writing stories and I put maps with them. I partnered with Devon Knight, and I have tokens, top-down tokens of unique characters and monsters and things for it. And the other project I'm working on is a joint project, which I usually work alone. I've decided to take on Bunny from Fantasy Grounds College as a co-writer, and we're writing an adventure that's basically it's set in the Lost Mines of Phandelver region, except it is 20 years or 30 years in the future, where it's become a place called Neverwhere, and it's completely plagued by these demonic tendrils and ley lines, which have sucked out all of the power and began reanimating the dead. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to provide Lost Mine of Phandelver maps, um, also Gates of Avernus maps, but you can't use those names. So
Right.
we're right. So we've created maps, but we're going to relabel it Neverwhere, and it's essentially going to be a standalone adventure. Bunny's a fantastic writer. I've been deeply impressed by her roleplay ability, her writing ability, the details she includes in the character development and background, and I thought she'd be great to work with. So we're working on something in the background too. Hopefully, we can bring that to Kickstarter soon, and just, try our luck and see how we go as writers. I've done a lot of maps and things, but I also, as a DM, I've written a lot of stories and a lot of adventures, and um, I've actually written an entire world called GS, which in
Yeah, I remember you mentioned that to me before about a year ago or so.
yeah, so
Yes.
that's still being developed. I have an entire map for that unique world. It uses meanders. Um, I have a 172 page manual for it. Originally, it was going to be a board game and it used a completely unique system, but I'm trying to port it over into Fantasy Grounds and into 5e. And I think at about that time, that was when I met Aaron, um, Aaron Marks Leroon from Fantasy Grounds College. And he began talking to me about Fantasy Grounds and showing me what it could do. And I realized, well, perhaps it's possible to put this game with all of the boards and monsters and things into 5e instead. But I think I would like to try and retain both. So I think I'll do a 5e version, but I will try to put the original system there too, which is unique. It's one I've made up. For instance, um, similar to taking the pain out of trying to develop all sorts of things that Squareware solves, or trying to come up with monsters, which TerrorFormer solves. My system allows you to roll the dice once and take 4 pieces of information from it. It takes away the math, so you don't have to do a lot of math. You can do very simple math, so kids can play it. It doesn't allow you to do absolutely everything like 5e. It's less roleplay and more board game. So it has a huge amount of stuff you can do, but it's not limitless. So it sort of controls the board, and it also changes it up so that certain player tactics no longer work. So you can't have murder hobos, for instance, or you can't have rules lawyers and things like that. I like 5e, but I think it's really, really complicated, even as the most simplest game. The amount of information that has to be asked every time someone plays a game is ridiculous to me. I think it's too much. I don't know why it's that complicated, so I've tried to simplify it, like I'm sure everyone else has. But yeah, I'm just gonna give it a go and see how it goes. So I've got a few things going. I have Lovecraftian meanders coming up soon. I'm still working on my modern zombie and post-apocalyptic. I can show you some of the zombie ones now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is from a previous Kickstarter. That's not a very good image.
I see those city environs with burnout cars and crashed up buildings and stuff. Help us. That's awesome.
Yeah, so this is zombie apocalypse. It's not just zombie. It's all hell gone. It's all gone. Got a huge range of different scenarios here. So you've got the bridges out. Got choked city point. This was just an attempt to try a different genre. I haven't done this genre before. I did modern, where the maps are nice and clean, and then I decided to do zombie. So here we have a barricaded street. You usually got a narrow enough pass for tokens to move through freely, but all sorts of scenarios can happen here. Got tanks that have barricades that have been overrun, full of traffic and chaos, just chaos everywhere basically. And it was really fun to do. Really fun to do.
Now, did you make the modern clean ones and then use those and just add crap on top for the zombies? That's what I would have done. Is that what you did?
Yeah, that's pretty much what I did, man.
Yeah.
It was really fun.
Yeah,
messing
it would be
it
super
up.
fun. Right, just
Super
create
fun
something really nice and then just fuck it up. I love it.
Yeah, like SimCity, remember that? You build an entire city and then smash it with the
Right.
tidal waves and the earthquake.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Cool. All right, man. Well, that's awesome. So things are in the fire, everybody. Irons are in the fire, stirring it up. Let's see. What do we check marks? Engineers. I'm looking to make sure anybody didn't have any questions. Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
Diablo Bob says he can't wait to get this. All right, good. Well, I think we've covered it, and
how much more time do we have on the Kickstarter for this?
3 days. It ends. Oh yeah, let's look at that. The Kickstarter, you must get your pledge in before 8:30 p.m. Pacific time on September 4th. So it's 3 days and about an hour and a half. So say 73 hours from now. I forget when I think when it goes to 2 days, they start counting down the hours. But it's still
when you
still
get
3 days.
48 hours.
Yeah, okay. So if you're waiting to get your credit card in order or do whatever you need to do, make sure you get it done by September 4th. And in the United States, in my time zone, that is Wednesday, September 4th by 8:30 p.m. And then right now, as it stands for this second, I wish they used to have a percentage on here, but they don't anymore. But I'll just guess and say that's 55%. I could actually get the calculator out and figure it out, but
It was 51 last time I checked. That was last night, so I'm not sure how it's going at the moment, but we're about halfway there.
Yeah, it went up a little bit while we were talking. I think a couple people in the chat pledged. Divided by 11.22.
I appreciate that, everyone. Thank you very much.
I was right. It's 55%, so it went up 4%. So yeah, you make sure that you do this by September 4th, and if you're watching on YouTube, that's the date. That's the cutoff is September 4th. And so anybody that sees this in the next couple of days will be able to have the chance to do it. And I will have the link in the description of the video on YouTube as well. Let's give away a prize. We never even talked about that, but let me give away a prize. We always try to do that at least one on a show. So let me give away something. Here, I'll put in a raffle. We'll use Chris's name for the raffle, and I'll give away a DM's Guild item of mine for anybody that wants to win one. So keyword Chris, everybody, with a K, exclamation KRIS. If you type it in the chat, you will be entered into this drawing, which I'll leave on the screen so people can see. And then we'll draw a prize for somebody. Any final words, Chris? Any parting comments you'd like to give anybody?
I'd just like to send my condolences to Aaron. I'd like to thank you, Rob, and Fury for having me on the show. And I'd like to say hi and thank you very much to everyone that's listening and everyone at Fantasy Grounds College. And hopefully it funds. I appreciate everyone's support. Thank you.
All right, excellent. Well, thanks for coming on the show. And yeah, we do want to send our thoughts to Liroon and his family because of the passing of his mother, which, I experienced this situation 5 years ago, and it's never rough for anybody to lose a parent or a family member, but, we have to just say that we hope he's feeling good, and this type of thing happens to every human being, so we wait around for it to happen, and when it does, we try to get through it as best we can and move on. And he definitely would have wanted us to, well, he did, as a matter of fact, wanted us to continue with the show and make sure we did a good show today. So good. So thanks a lot, Chris. We appreciate you coming on, and hopefully this will get funded so that everybody who backed it here during the show today can get some stuff.
Cheers, man.
Yep. Cheers, Chris. Thanks a lot. Take care.
And the prize?
Oh, the prize. Let's do the prize.
Before they riot.
Yeah, I was trying to. I didn't. Chris. I couldn't figure out how to get him out of the channel, but because I know he said he had before the show started. He said he had to go, but he spent an hour with us. Okay, the prize. Here it is. Draw winner. I almost always mess that up. Draw winner. Boom! Vanilla Bean 0809. You are the winner. Congratulations. So I see that Vanilla Bean, you are not a follower of the channel, so I will tell you how to claim your prize. You don't have to be a follower. You still win. Don't worry. But boo! You should follow the channel. Hit the follow button. But here's what you do. I'm going to put the link in the Discord channel. I'm going to put it in the Twitch channel right here. But that's the link to get to my Discord channel. And then you just go there, Vanilla Bean, and you send me a personal message and just say, hey, I'm the person that won on the show tonight, and then I'll tell you how to claim your prize. And if you're new to Fantasy Grounds, as he just said, or she, we don't know, Vanilla Bean, how can you tell? Is that a he or she? I don't know. Your preferred pronoun, then good, because any of the stuff you get from me will help you, whether you're going to be DMing or be a player, it'll help you be a new person. She, okay, so she. Thank you. Yeah, so this will help you, and definitely, if you don't know Vanilla Bean, you should definitely check out Fantasy Grounds College. That's who we've been talking about, the founder of the Fantasy Grounds College, which is an all-volunteer place that you can take classes and learn how to build characters and do combat and GM and stuff like that. That's the founder of that, was whose mother passed today. All right, so Theory, what else? What are our orders of business? What do we have to say to people before we go?
Ooh.
What's coming up next week?
Oh, yes, thank you. I knew. If I didn't have you here, this show would just be nothing. Next week is... Oh, yes, I get to green this out. I'm so excited. This is my favorite part of the show, is putting the green highlight here. Oh, next week we're going to talk about the D&D Essentials Kit, which comes out on Tuesday. So that'll be out the 3rd, and then I will buy it, and we'll open it up on Sunday and look through it. And it's going to be pretty... For those of you that might have the physical copy already, hashtag Target Fiasco, then you may have noticed that there's sidekicks and stuff like that. And I'll talk a little bit about the adventures I'm working on as much as I can. I don't think I'll be able to show you anything, but I can talk about it because I'm doing the 3 sequels to the Essentials Kit. So the Essentials Kit contains a module that's for beginners, or I mean, not beginners, but levels 1 through 6. And then I have the 3 sequels that were supposed to come out September 3rd, but they're not quite done, so I don't have all the materials. So they're not going to be out, in 2 days. But it's going to be a 7th level, a 9th level, and an 11th level adventure. So if you have the 3 sequels to the Essentials Kit, you can go from 1st to 12th level. So pretty cool. DNDB, I don't know, D&D Essentials. So good. All right. We gave away the prize. We showed the show. We did the thing. All I did was drive to another part of the state and back, but I'm so disoriented. I don't know how to stream anymore. I can't remember how to stream.
Uh-oh. Is this that old age kicking in?
It is. It's exactly what it is. So let me put the link one more time in the chat for people. I know that people are either going to back it or not, but there you go, everybody. And I guess that's it. So let me go to the slides. So just remember to join us here on channel Rob2E for all the shows. Vanilla Bean, thanks for the follow. Tomorrow will be Module Creation Monday, obviously, and then we have 5e pickup games on Wednesdays. We have on Fridays the Dungeon of the Mad Mage game that Fury and I play in, and we'll be playing that this Friday. And then on Saturday, the 7th, we start the Avernus, the Baldur's Gate campaign. I don't have a slide for that yet because I don't have the artwork from Drake, but Drake's going to be the DM there, and we'll play that on Saturday nights. And then Sundays, we have our Acquisition Incorporated game, which Fury and I also play in. I'm in Fury's in every game that I'm in. And then next week on this show, we'll talk about whatever I said we were going to talk about, which I've already forgotten because it's not on the screen anymore. What was
That's
it?
pretty bad. That's so bad.
Oh, the Essentials Kit. Yeah. Because my mind, it's just like, my mind only holds so much information, and when I cram it all in there, then as soon as I take in a new piece of information, I forget something, and usually it's the most recent thing I took in just before that. So, like, I forget my sister's phone number, but I don't even have a sister. I don't know. It's a weird thing, everybody. But thanks for joining us, and good gaming, everyone.
developers. Content devs will also want to know how to do this if they're trying to build modules